You're listening to Mentoring Developers. The question that we have is, what programming language should I choose, right? The programming language that I choose as a new developer. Maybe I have 1 year experience. Maybe I have 2 years experience. Maybe I just graduated from college. Maybe I'm going through a code school and they're making me go through Ruby on Rails and Angular, and I'm like, should I be doing this? Or I'm not sure. I'm maybe in high school and I'm thinking, I would love to do coding. What do I choose? And we know that it's not all about web development. That's what you hear about, but that's not all there is to software development. So I want to ask David Gatti, what do you think? Because you have some, different experiences. Your experiences are unique. It's going to put you in a different place where you can really tell us about what programming languages are the most satisfying from an intellectual point of view, right, and which are the most lucrative in terms of making a lot of money.
I don't know the last part, but I can for sure talk about languages. That's an interesting topic, and I was thinking about it for past few weeks when I started doing some articles about sockets when it comes to hardware and software. And so I think the most important thing when you're a new person, thinking which language to choose, is understand that there isn't the best language out there. You cannot choose just one language, right? So for example, Fernando for sure know that it will be impossible to write. You need to use, for example, Swift for iOS, right? The majority of the time. If you're writing something for hardware, in my case for Particle or Arduino, you have two options, C or C++, the majority of the time, right? So when it comes to languages, when you have to choose something, you have to choose the right thing for the issue that you're trying to solve, and also try to not have this mindset that there is only one best language out there.
I think that's a very good point. There's no one silver bullet. There's no you learn this language and now you can do everything. That's a holy grail. Exactly. We've tried to do that in the computer industry, in the software world. We have tried to create these really giant languages like Ada and other languages that are supposed to do a whole lot of other stuff, all in, all-encompassing languages. They don't exist. The key point here is to know what you want to do with this, right? So now you talked about embedded systems and Arduinos and so on. Tell us about this. What are they and why would you use it?
So embedded systems are basically, you can think of anything that is small, I would say. For example, a watch is an embedded system because you don't have all the parts of a computer, or you don't have all the resources available for you that you can find on a regular computer. So you have, for example, instead of 3 gigahertz of CPU, you have 16 megahertz, right? Or 8 megahertz. Or you, instead of having gigabytes of RAM, you have only 25 kilobytes of RAM, right? And so they're very narrow, specific hardware that the job is to make a one specific task, right? So the watch shows you the time, right? Bluetooth speakers play music. Sensor to measure the distance to a wall measures one thing. So embedded system basically is they perform one task and they try to perform it as well as possible, where a computer can do basically anything.
Okay, so you're constrained by resources. That way you can't really use JavaScript and Ruby on Rails or Ruby or other programming languages because they're not efficient and so many other reasons why you can't use it. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why you use C, for example, or in the best case scenario C++, because you have to actually manage memory very efficiently. So if you have 25 kilobytes of RAM, it's basically few pages of text, right, of memory available for you. So you need to be very careful how you're using it, otherwise everything crashes.
Yeah, and there are subtle differences between C and C++. Obviously, C++ is more evolved. It allows you to do object-oriented programming, but they both allow you to determine and monitor and free and capture memory as you please. So it gives you power, but you can also shoot yourself in the foot if you don't know what you're doing. So these are not your languages that are very forgiving.
Correct. But also I will say, like, don't be discouraged by when people say like C is very complicated or is hard or whatever. I will say that it's time consuming because you will have to write a lot of things from scratch just for that specific hardware. Well, of course, with Arduino, you get a framework where people did a lot of stuff already, right? But in essence, it's more time consuming than any other language.
Okay.
So it's not complicated per se, I would say.
Absolutely. So you can do C. You just have to be careful about memory. Make sure that you remove memory that you allocate. That's something up to you. But in other languages, memory is managed for you. So that's the difference. Thank you so much for listening.
For show notes and transcripts, visit us at mentoringdevelopers.com.